Today we're back with another one. I'll probably do a couple of these today so I can catch up since I haven't been doing videos in a few weeks because of my job. Um, this is gonna be episode 2. I'm gonna probably do like 4 episodes tonight. Might as well. I'm on the roll. Okay. This episode ain't gonna be long as the first one. The first one was long, and even though I edited it pretty fast because I'm using Active Presenter, which I love, by the way. It's good for simple, quick editing, like there's no tomorrow. Heck, you can edit a YouTube video within a few moments and then a process within that same amount of time, and then before you know it, you got a YouTube video up. Is how I actually edited the intro. That's not endorsement or anything like that. I'm just saying I like using it. But anyways, we're gonna try to get these episodes down to like 10 minutes apiece. Because I know a lot of these have so much information on it. This episode is basically about secret societies. The number one secret society everybody talks about is the Illuminati. The Illuminati, they're ruling the world, and they're trying to destroy the world and all this other stuff. Bro, no, they're not. They're really not. Okay, so we're gonna look. Basically, the Illuminati is a set group society that existed in the late 17th century, and was created by Waspet. I hope I said his name right. But anyways, that secret society back then, the Bavarian Illuminati, was created to go against the Catholic Church at the time, in which they themselves were free thinkers. And they basically was going directly against the religion at the time, because it was allowance of free thinkers. It was allowance of people who wanted to rely upon themselves. They seen it as God, the creator, put them here to not beg God for help every 5 seconds, but in order to gain and attain knowledge and use that knowledge to help other people. Whereas the church at the time, I don't want to say Catholic Church, but the church at the time wanted to hide the majority of that knowledge. And because at the end of the day, the one thing that's more powerful than a bullet is knowledge. A bullet is a bullet. That one bullet, it's gone. Alright? And even then, you gotta have good accuracy. But knowledge, however, you can rule countries. You can rule an entire planet off of knowledge. And that's what these secret societies is about. So, here's my theory. What if it's not really the Illuminati that's running things? Think about it. What better way to destroy your enemy than to do evil things in their name? We already know the original Illuminati ended around that same time period. We already know there were Freemasons that basically was inside the Illuminati itself and helped break it apart. We already know the church wanted it destroyed because of that. But what if the people who are actually running this world are using the Illuminati's name as a front? Now, we're not going to say who the secret group is, okay? Like my life. But what we're saying is, think about this theory. What if there's a group of men who are the real runners of this world, who come from the original families? We're not going to say the number, but say for instance, these, like I said in last episode, celestial dragons, basically these original families of people, the descendant of these original families of people, who could be descendant of the lizardmen, are the ones who are actually running this world. And what if they don't want you to know it's them running it? So what they do is they use a group, i.e. the Illuminati, as a way to make it look like they are running the world they're this evil group, this evil society. When in reality, the Illuminati's been long dead, long time ago. Because here it is. These societies, okay, here it is. What if they created a group of people who created their own God, who we call Lucifer, Satan, right? Because everybody says, oh, he's the father of all lies and this and that. But this society, this group could worship him as the father of knowledge. Because when you look in the Bible, it was Lucifer who told Adam and Eve that if they were to eat from the fruit of the tree, that they can gain unlimited knowledge and they can be like gods, not realizing that originally man was created in God's image anyways. But to have that knowledge of good and evil, then you can choose whether you think what's good and what's evil. Oh, I think this, I determine this is good. I determine that's evil, right? And when she ate from the fruit, she got embarrassed with herself. So she didn't want to be alone in that embarrassment. So she brought the fruit to Adam. And then Adam at first wouldn't eat it until she seduced him. He still wouldn't eat it. And then when she made him feel sorry for her, then it's like, I can't let my wife do this alone. And he ate the fruit. Now, that's the reason why they say that sin entered the world, is because Adam was not strong enough to obey God's law, but he was weak enough to make it to where his wife didn't suffer alone. That's just a theory. Okay? And that's when the so-called sin entered the world. But imagine this. Imagine being created by a being who tells you that you don't have the right to know everything, but I'm gonna put that knowledge in front of you. That's like putting a cake in front of me and telling me not to eat it, and then when I get hungry or, you know, enticed by the cake, I eventually eat it, and you're like, oh, well, you're weak, you ate the cake. First of all, I'm new. What did you think was going to happen? It's the same thing as a baby coming into the world. You can't say a baby's being bad or hard-headed because they're only doing what they know how to do, what they're instinctively doing. So to sit up there and put this fruit and say it gives you knowledge, what you're saying is that knowledge is evil, because the smarter you are, the less likely you will need God. That's the message it seems that it's bringing across. I'm not saying that's what it is. Like I said, this is theory. We're coming up with theories here. But doesn't that sound strange? Doesn't it sound strange to sit up there and think that I can't have knowledge that's right? Our lives, we're taught to pursue knowledge. But when knowledge is right in front of us for the taking, we're told not to get it? Do you see what I'm saying? Because knowledge is power. That's what the real power is. Which is the reason why Lucifer says, if you was to eat from this tree, you can be like gods. Because being like a god is power, right? So at that point, this secret society sees Lucifer, their god, as representation of knowledge and freedom, whereas the Jehovah is representation of order and slavery. Because when you think about it, when we look at slavery across the world, it was an order to it. All right, let's be truthful about it. There was order in not having no freedom, because if you have freedom, they think freedom is chaos, right? Now, here's the thing. When you are tricked into believing that the darkness is evil because it's chaos, that makes no sense. The darkness came first, right? When we look at the universe, and we're going to get in that in episode number 3, like they coming up. So when we look at it, if we was to attain that knowledge and look at that knowledge that we attain, the universe, there was no light. There was nothing but darkness. That's not chaos. That's order, right? Now, we're not going to go deep into it yet. That's the next episode when we talk about how the universe is created, my theories on how the universe is created. But what I'm saying is that the light became the corruption within the darkness. Now, that's not saying that light is corrupt. What it's saying is that it changed the format of the universe, right? And then it brought about the chaos in which there had to be put in order because, of how the universe is created. And like I said, we're going to get into that. Now, what if these secret societies, the reason why they're so powerful, because not only do they know how the universe was created, but they know who the true creator is. When we speak about the story about how this group of men, before they became Freemasons, went to Africa and gained this knowledge, you do realize it's also, and some Africans will tell you this, how also their historians and priests were killed off by these Europeans who came to their country. Why kill off the historians and the priest? Because at that time, they was the ones who passed on the knowledge. They didn't want these other people to get that knowledge, which is the reason why they got a hold of the children. Y'all didn't know it was children who was put in slavery first, because the children were easily susceptible to it because they did not have the knowledge of these men, these beings being who they are. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean by knowledge is power. So you got this secret society, this secret group of people who they're running everything behind the scenes, but they're using a front, which is the Illuminati, as to rule the world. Because here's the thing, if I want to control you, what's the best course of action, right? Fear. If I want to control you through fear, I got to create you an enemy. Now you fear that enemy. Now I created the chaos. I'm going to come as your savior, so you'll worship me, not realizing I'm the one who caused that chaos in the first place. It's sort of like when we talk about God, right? Like I said, theory, okay? I'm not attacking anybody's religious belief. I'm just saying these are theories. That's like saying God created Lucifer so that God can become the savior. I'm going to say it again. That's like saying God created Lucifer so that God can become the savior. Think about it. If God had no adversary, it would not be a sin to go against God, because there is no sin that is defined from God. So in order for sin to be defined, Lucifer had to be created by God in order for sin to be recognized and have a presence within the world. Because otherwise, going against God at the time without that sin, without Lucifer, would not have been considered a sin. It would be considered just free will. You choose, right? It's sort of like a parent who they raise their child, and the child get that rebellious streak, but eventually let them go out on their own and make their own choices. But at the end of the day, that child is always going to love you because you are their parent and you took care of them no matter what. Even if they do get rebellious, they're still going to always come back to you. But when you look at that, don't you think God should have had that same concept in his creation? That when God created us, that he should have allowed us the freedom to make our own choices and to choose to come back to him. But see, here's the thing. There was no adversary. So if your children go into the world and they don't go through adversity, they're not going to learn to respect you. And that's the reason why I feel like that's the reason why he exists. It's the same way these secret societies are running this world. You're not going to respect them and fear them and treat them like the gods they are, or the children of God that they claim they are, unless you have something to fear that they can save you from. When you look at these families, you look at some of the rich banking families like the Rothschilds, the Rosicrucians, and all them type of stuff, the Rockefellers, they made money off of what? War. Just war. Think about it. All these families became rich based off of war. Because what did they do? They had to create an adversary for you to fear. So that does two things. One, it keeps you from paying attention to them. It's the same thing people do on jobs. When you're doing good and stuff like that, in order to hide their mess ups, they nitpick and get the manager to pay attention to you. So while the managers pay attention to every single little itty bitty thing you're doing, they can get away with doing whatever the hell they want. Why? Because they got the manager watching you. It's the same with these secret societies. If I can get you focused on that enemy, right? If I can get you focused on that enemy, I can control you through the fear that you have for that enemy, which is the Illuminati. The Illuminati is the fear that these secret societies are using to control people. So every time somebody thinks something bad happens, it's the Illuminati, it's the Illuminati. No, Illuminati has nothing to do with it, my friend. It's the people who really, the secret group who really, Rothschilds don't run the world. Rockefellers don't run the world. Rosicrucians don't run the world. The Merovingian Machiavellis, they don't really run the world. They work for the group that runs the world. My thing is, you got the 7 front families, the 3 secret families, and those 3 secret families work for the ruler of the world. And that ruler of the world could be descended from Lucifer himself. Because think about it. What if we took that part out the Bible in which Lucifer actually laid with the woman in order to... Come on now. You really think Lucifer wouldn't take that path? If Lucifer hated man, in order to corrupt man, he was to lay with man and make sure his seed passed down through the earth as the prince of the earth, in which the 3 families serve, right? We're not going to say these families' names, though. And we'll never say their names, which the 3 families serve. And then you have the 7 front families out who are trillionaires. Now, here's the thing. These secret society, these secret 3 families and the secret bloodline, whoever descended from the secret bloodline, they own every single last resource on earth. That's all the money. They own all the money, all the currency. They own it. They letting you borrow it, but they own it. You don't own it. You don't own your money. You know, you getting, oh man, I got $100. I'm about to get rims. You don't own them rims. You don't own the money you make. They're allowing you to use their money for you to get things to give you the illusion of control. But really, they're the ones that's in control. Like I said, we're not going to say their names. But they're the ones who are in control. They are the ones who are running things. They are the ones who are doing what needs to be done to keep the world in check. And let me tell you this. Like KSR1 says, they are good. That doesn't make any sense. How can you say these evil people who starting these wars and stuff, how can you say they're good? They are. Why? Because they have a different mental mindset than the rest of the world. The rest of the world, we're too busy worried about being selfish and about what we want and about being scared to live and about being scared of dying and about being scared, period. We get so selfish and so ignorant and stupid that you got these secret families who have to actually run us because we're not too intelligent to run ourselves. That's how they feel. But see, here's the thing. If they don't give you a front runner to look at, they know you're going to seek them out. If I don't give you the Rockefellers, if I don't give you the Rothschilds, if I don't give you the Rosicrucians, if I don't give you the Bavarians, the Machiavellis, if I don't give you these families to be the front runners that claim they run in the world, to be these billionaires and trillionaires, you're gonna come looking for me. So I have to put them out there and say, hey, these are the ones, they're running the world. These 7 families, they're the ones that's running the world. And then I got my 3 bodyguard families. And then I got the real runners of the world. You really think the person who runs the world, you can easily get to them? I bet you and promise you big as day that the person who actually runs this world is actually walking amongst us and you don't even recognize it. That bloodline is actually walking amongst us and you don't even recognize it. You don't. You never will. Because it's meant to be that way. So we know the Illuminati's not really running this world. That's what they want you to think. But do not go seeking out who really runs this world, because it's not going to end good for you. But like I said, this is just a theory. None of this is fact. These are just theories based on evidence that is seen. Because remember, they're watching you.